Tip number 58, create board variants if your CAD software supports it. What are variants, do you know? Variants are when you have one PCB and you fit different components. Probably easiest explanation is, or easiest example is, if you have a board with different processor speed or different memory size. Yeah, you have board with 4 GB of memory and you have same board with 1 GB of memory. So that's variant. Sometimes it can be much more difficult. Sometimes you need to describe some resistors, some capacitors, some connectors which are not fitted between the variants or which are fitted between the variants. So it can be very, very useful if your CAD software supports it. It can be useful because it helps you minimize mistakes when you are creating documentation for manufacturing. If your CAD system supports it, usually the variants, all the correct components are correctly mentioned in the output documentation or highlighted in the documentation. If you don't have this variant support, or if you don't do it, you have to do it manually. So for example, if you generate BOM, you generate one BOM and then you need to manually adjust the BOM, like delete some components for specific variants or change the components for specific variants, like change the memory size. I'm going to show you an example how it looks in Altium Designer. I'm not really sure how it is done in the other systems. I don't think I ever used variants in different systems. Yeah, probably not. I think I only use it in Altium. So if you go to Altium, this is how the variant may look in the schematic. This is a 5 volt 3.3 volt variant, and you can see these components are not fitted. If I go here and select the different variant, 5 volt variant, you see here it changed it here. This one is fitted, these are not fitted. If I go and change it back, these are not fitted, these are fitted. It's much more useful in assembly drawings. Have a look, this is awesome. So if you need to generate assembly drawing for assembly house, you automatically, or Altium automatically show the fitted and unfitted components in the drawing. This, for example, here you can see here this component is not fitted for the fixed 5 volt variant. In this variant, 5 volt 3.3, it is fitted. Yeah? Altium automatically does this. I haven't done it. Same for 3D models. Very useful again in assembly house, or even for the, if you are building some systems or something and you need to have accurate 3D model of the board, it generates the 3D model for specific variant. Here you can see jumper is not fitted. This one, it is fitted. But as I said, probably the most useful it is in the BOMs. So I'm going to show you examples in the BOM. Here you can see this is a 5 volt variant, and I know there is difference in crystals. So here is a crystal. For the 5 volt variant, here we have only one kind of crystal, 16 megahertz crystal, and we need 2 pieces on the board. For this variant, 5 volt 3.3 volt variant, we need 2 crystals, yeah, this one and this one, 10 megahertz and 8 megahertz crystal, one of each, and oops, you cannot see it, okay, one of each, and this is automatically generated by Altium. Once I set it up in the system, Altium automatically generates the correct BOM. Again, if you have a look on this documentation, you can nicely see for the 5 volt variant, in the list of components, you can see this, here are the crystals. In this variant, the crystals are same, yeah, Y1, Y2 are 16 megahertz. In this variant, if I scroll down, you can see the crystals are different. Yeah, Y1 is 10 megahertz crystal, Y2 is 8 megahertz. Again, I didn't do it. Altium automatically does this. So as you can see, having this variance feature in software, it can be very useful. You still may think like, maybe I don't need it. Yeah. Yes, if you are working on a project, then you are finishing it and you need to generate the manufacturing information. You can create the variance manually. It's not a problem. When this feature may become very useful is later. Yeah. Imagine after 1 year you need to do some changes on your board. You need to create new version of the board, adjust the PCB or schematic, and generate all the manufacturing documentation again. And after 1 year you may not remember exactly why you fitted, unfitted specific components. And then when you will be generating the manufacturing documentation, and if you don't have this variant support implemented properly, you need to manually go through the old BOMs and compare it with the new BOMs and adjust the lines, yeah? Delete the lines manually. You can make mistake and it is time consuming. It is much more difficult than just pressing buttons. Because that's what you do. If you use the variants correctly, you just press button, everything is generated correctly. And it can be even more difficult if you have to adjust project which was done by someone else. Yeah. So, for example, someone left your company and you need to do changes on her project. You have no idea why he fitted, unfitted some components. And again, if you have to create the variants manually, it's going to be time consuming and very risky. Yeah? You must not make mistakes. Otherwise, all the 1,000 pieces which is going to be manufactured from your variant, from the BOM for your variant, may have some mistake and need to be, corrected. You don't want to do it. So if you can, tip number 58, create board variants. Why? It's going to save you a lot of time and minimize mistakes in BOMs.